Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Thank you very much for having me along tonight. I think everybody would agree when I say that the landscape of London now resembles one of those time-lapse, speeded-up David Attenborough nature films, doesn't it? About the return of spring to the Canadian wilderness, where the ice is retreating, and everywhere we look we can see the place bulging and writhing and sprouting with growth. And like some species of beaver, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, the developers have emerged from hibernation, and haven't they? Here we are, well done, yeah? and they're all gnawing away and frantically erecting your prodigious designs, the Shah, the cheese grater, the walkie-talkie, the lady shave, and all those extraordinary things that are going. And as the climate improves, London is like, I was going to say like a Serengeti waterhole, but I'm mixing my natural metaphors now. It's attracting more and more migratory species from around the planet, exotic, wonderful. I was trying to think of a French migrant species. What is it? A grenouille? What? No. What's a I don't know, a marmoset or something, not a marmot. A quail. Lots of migratory species are coming from Germany, from France, from America, around the world. And I read in the Evening Standard the other day, you can't believe that, what can you believe, that London now has more billionaires, I don't know whether John, whether you had this story as well, more billionaires in London than any other city on earth. Did you know that? We have 72 of these exotic and rare species here in London. New York has a mere 43, Moscow has 48, Paris has a derisory 18 billionaires. London, my friends, London is to the billionaire as the jungles of Sumatra are to the orangutan. We are their natural habitat. The place that they come to breed and do whatever it is that billionaires do. And here in Berkeley Square, I'm sure you can hear them sometimes at dusk. Watch them brachiating between the trees of Berkeley Square, or pant-hooting their mating cries of, "James, would you mind bringing the car round to the front of the hotel?" or whatever it is that they say. But what is it? Why is it? Very quickly, why do the billionaires come here? Why are they all here? They're here, of course, with London's greatest city on earth. It's the place that everybody wants to live, as John and Philippa have just said. Crime is down dramatically, about 17–18% just in the last 6 years. Bus crime down 40%. That's not crime committed by buses, which is very rare indeed. Crime on buses down by about 40%. Murder rate roughly cut by half since I've been mayor. No thanks to, well, it must be something to do. I'm going to claim credit for it. It's an extraordinary time to live here, and we're going through, as you know, a huge surge of investment in the city, in the things that make the city work, in transport infrastructure, the bikes, the buses, the air conditioning on the tube, Crossrail. Everybody can see what is happening in our city. And as Philippa rightly says, the future of London is now becoming more and more transparently wonderful. We are going to have Crossrail too. Never mind, we are, aren't we? Yes. Come on, development industry alone. It's up to you to help me deliver this. We are going to have Crossrail too. We're going to have a series of new bridges across the Thames to the east of Tower Bridge, which will open up fantastic prospects for development in that part of the city. We are going ahead with the spectacular plans to regenerate Stratford and that whole Olympicopolis, as I call it, to deafening silence when I use that. We are seeing astonishing things happen at all points of the campus, and many of you are involved in some of those fantastic schemes, and I congratulate you on them. London is emerging now as the artistic, the financial, the cultural, the scientific capital of the world. And yet, all of us have to recognise that we are living in a city where there are still huge numbers of children growing up in poverty, colossal amounts of deprivation in colossal quantities. We've got childhood illiteracy on a scale that I still think shames our city. And above all, we have large numbers of people, not just those in need of social housing, but those in the middle who cannot afford to live anywhere near their place of work. And we have a duty to address that problem. Well, how do we solve it? How do we sort out that kind of chronic inequality? Do you try to level down? Do you say to all the exotic migrant species, those billionaires who are arriving here, do you say, push off, hop off you frogs, as the, should we say that, should we put some swinging new tax on London property? A mansion tax, is that what you would like to see? I don't think so. Do you want to tax the bankers out of town? I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I think the way to sort this problem out is to help the poorest and the neediest by tackling their education, and above all, by getting them into work and by building enough homes for them to live in. And I don't know whether you've been looking at the numbers of vacancies now in the construction industry. Do you know how many vacancies there are now in the construction industry, the sector that you're helping to propel? No. Well, according to the Evening Standard, it's 19,000. Does that sound roughly right? So that sounds about 19,000 vacancies now. 2 points. First of all, I want to see those jobs. There are vacancies for hod carriers and bricklayers and all sorts of things for former mayors to do when the going gets tough. There are also, I want young Londoners to get those jobs, and I want us to work together to get them the skills and the training they will need to get those jobs. And I want us together to build enough homes for Londoners to live in. Because frankly, at the moment, we are not doing enough. Now, I think that it is possible that in 50 years or so, or within the next 50 years, the ice will return at some stage. Let's be realistic about the economic cycle. At some stage, the tundra will creep back over the London economic landscape, and the beavers will return to their winter quarters with their colossal quantities of loot. And quite right, quite right. But in the meantime, I think we have the conditions, all the conditions, for an absolutely golden age of construction in London. Do you not agree? A golden age of construction in London. So let's exploit this moment to build homes now in our city that Londoners need, and let's build them for Londoners, and let's build homes of such beauty and distinction that no one could possibly complain about them, about what they do to the skyline, and let's build homes that will be loved and venerated in 50 or 100 years' time. Thank you very, very much for having me along, and go to it. Thank you.